Hello, friends of the Diocese of Toronto. My name's James Leach. I'm the chaplain of Royal St. George's College, a boys' school in the heart of Toronto that's affiliated with the Anglican Church. Outside of that, I also serve as a member of the diocese's Interfaith Committee, and from there I was cross-appointed to the Christian-Jewish Dialogue of Toronto, and I'm the current chair of that organization. So this theme of interfaith engagement is not only part of my ministry at the school, it's part of my wider vocation within the diocese and beyond. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share how the chapel services at Royal St. George's College are helping our community live out several of the calls to action from Cast the Net. As we know, Cast the Net challenges every part of our diocesan life, parishes, schools, chaplaincies, and ministries, to renew our spirituality, inspire faith in action, reimagine ministry, and transform our diocesan culture. At Royal St. George's College, our chapel program has been intentionally shaped by those same four themes. Today, I'd like to reflect briefly on three of the calls to action that have guided our work here. These are Call 1, to enter into a season of spiritual renewal; Call 7, to promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism; and Call 10, to reflect the diversity of our communities in our congregations and clergy. First, Call 1. To enter into a season of spiritual renewal. At Royal St. George's College, the chapel is the heart of our school's spiritual life. Each week, it gathers students and staff from many faith traditions and some with no particular faith into a shared time of reflection, prayer, and music. Over the past several years, we've entered into our own season of renewal by widening the circle of voices who lead in the chapel. Alongside Christian clergy from different denominations, we've welcomed a rabbi, a Hindu priest, and Muslim representatives to share their perspectives on faith, ethics, and the sacred. In the coming months, we'll also hear from a Sikh leader and a Buddhist teacher. These are not performative guest appearances to fill a schedule or to check a box. They're deliberate invitations to help our students encounter the mystery of God through the lens of neighbors. When young people listen to someone from a different faith speak about hope, compassion, or forgiveness, it deepens their own spiritual lives. And that's what Cast the Net means when it calls us to spiritual renewal, an openness to the Spirit moving in unexpected voices. Second, Call 7, to take, sustain, and to communicate actions that promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism. Our chapel services have become one of the clearest expressions of those commitments at Royal St. George's College. When a student of Jewish or Muslim background reads a lesson, when a Hindu student speaks about Diwali, when we acknowledge the holy days of other faiths alongside our own Christian seasons, we send a strong message. You are seen, you are valued, and you belong in this school and sacred community. This practice does not weaken our Anglican identity. It strengthens it. It reminds us that inclusion and faithfulness go hand in hand with Christ's message. It allows our boys to see diversity not as an exception to faith, but as a reflection of God's abundant creation. And it models the anti-racism, equity, and reconciliation that Cast the Net calls us all to embody, not just in words, but in worship and in action. Third, Call 10, to reflect the diversity of our communities in our congregations and clergy. Toronto, as we all know, is one of the most religiously and culturally diverse cities in the world. Our diocesan ministries, schools included, should look and sound like the communities we serve and live in. In the chapel at RSGC, this means that the people leading prayers, reading scripture, and offering reflections come from diverse backgrounds. It also means we're preparing the next generation of leaders, young Anglicans and others, who will see diversity, dialogue, and cooperation as natural expressions of Christian faith. As both a school chaplain and as chair of the Christian-Jewish Dialogue of Toronto, I've seen firsthand how relationships across faith lines can strengthen the Church's witness to the world and understanding among people. When we engage with our neighbors in friendship and respect, the gospel shines more clearly, not less. That's the deeper goal of Call 10, to ensure that our ministries reflect the rich, plural landscape of the world God has placed us in. So, how are we at Royal St. George's College casting the net? By opening our chapel doors wide, by listening deeply to voices beyond our own, and by letting the Spirit renew our imagination for what faithful, inclusive ministry can look like in the Diocese of Toronto. Through our Interfaith services, we've learned something that echoes the disciples' experience on the Sea of Galilee, that when the net is cast wide enough, it does not tear, it holds multitudes. And that's when the miracle happens. I want to thank you for listening, and may God bless our diocese as we continue to cast the net in faith, hope, and in love.